Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vajrajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vajrajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vajrajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajracharya Asasata Shishi Madas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajracharya Asasata Shishimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Anatakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Garadhar, Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki, Yamuna Devi Ki, Ganga Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulsi Devi Ki, Vrindavan Ki, Mayapur Dham Ki, Sankirtan Yogya Ki, Gaur Premanandi, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhaktaya Viparaya Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pajarane Nirviseshish Paschat Yadeshatarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 46, Text 31. Et tau hi Vishvasya cha bijayoni Ramo Mukunda Purusha Pradhanam Anviya Bhuteshu Vilakshanasya Yanasya Chesh Atta Imau Puranau Etau Hi Vishvasya Cha Bijayoni Ramo Mukunda Purusha Pradhanam Anviya Bhuteshu Vilakshanasya Yanasya Cheshasta Imau Purana. Please chant. Vitasya Pami Ami. That's good, that's good. Bhuteshu Vilakshanasya Vitasya Vilakshanasya Purana. Bhuteshu Vilakshanasya Etau, these two, he indeed, Vishvasya of the universe, Cha and Bija, the seed, Yoni and the womb, Rama, Lord Balaram, Mukunda, Lord Krishna, Purusha, the creating Lord, Pradhanam, his creative energy, Anviya, entering, Bhuteshu, within all living beings, Vilakshanasya, confused or perceiving, Jnanasya, knowledge, Cha, and Ishate, control, Imau, they, Puranau, primeval. Translation. These two lords, Mukunda and Balaram, are each the seed and womb of the universe, the creator and his creative potency. They enter the hearts of living beings and control their conditioned awareness. They are the primeval supreme. Please read together. These two lords, Mukunda and Balaram, are each the seed and womb of the universe, the creator and his creative potency. They enter the hearts of living beings and control their conditioned awareness. They are the primeval supreme. Purport by the servants of Srila Prabhupada. Vijayananda Maharaj, most probably. The word vilakshana means either distinctly perceiving or confused, depending on how the prefix V is understood in context. In the case of enlightened souls, vilakshana means perceiving the correct distinction between the body and the soul, and thus Lord Krishna, as indicated by the word ishate, guides the spiritually advancing soul. The other meaning of vilakshana, confused or bewildered, clearly applies to those who have not understood the difference between the soul and the body, or the distinction between the individual soul and the supreme soul. Such bewildered living beings do not go back home, back to Godhead, to the eternal spiritual world, but rather achieve temporary destinations according to the laws of nature. It is understood from all Vedic literature that Sri Ram, Balaram, here accompanying Lord Krishna, is non-different from him, being his plenary expansion. The Lord is one, yet he expands himself, and thus Lord Balaram in no way compromises the principle of monotheism. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Now, this is the very first of 14 verses that Uddhava is using going to use to convince Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai of the supremacy and divinity of the Supreme Lord. So we know why Uddhava is here. Like, Krishna, like as we've been mentioning, Mathura is not very far away from Vrindavan. And Krishna used to go up on the rooftop of where he was staying in Mathura, and from the rooftop with the tiled floor, he could see the course of the Yamuna. So he would watch look at the Yamuna and then just follow, because there were trees, it was like canopy of trees, and he would follow the course of the Yamuna all the way to Vrindavan, and he could not exactly see Vrindavan, but know that's where it's located. And when he would see Vrindavan, he would become overwhelmed, and his whole lotus flower garland would become drenched with tears and remembering the residents of Vrindavan. And so on that rooftop was his very dear friend, whom he calls his best friend, Uddhava. Uddhava is his advisor and his best friend. Otherwise, how could he reveal such confidential topics to Uddhava? Krishna didn't talk about his girlfriends to other people, but he did to Uddhava. And also Madhu Mangal later on, and some of the cowherd boys, but not too many. Now, what happens, he goes to Uddhava, as we read in the very beginning of this chapter, he takes Uddhava's hands in his and says, please, I need you to go to Vrindavan, because all the residents of Vrindavan are greatly suffering in my absence. And I need you to go and pacify them. And plus, I want you to experience the love, the prema of the devotees of Vrindavan. Unlike Uddhava is disciple of Brihaspati and very learned, and he is primarily a Gyani. So Krishna wants him to see about the love of the residents of Vrindavan. And he said, you have to go and pacify them. And Uddhava's like, me? What can I do? What can I possibly say that will pacify them? Well, don't worry. I'm going to send you letters. I'm going to write letters for them. And so you can give them the letters. And he you being there as my representative will pacify them. And so he's like, okay, whatever you say, Krishna, I'm just your humble servant. And so Krishna's like, great. And right away, so Krishna writes all his letters, and he says, I want you to go and offer my obeisances to all of the trees of Vrindavan and the playful bumblebees. And because all the trees, they offer their flowers, and I would use those flowers to decorate the gopis. And so then go and see my mother's cows and ask them about their welfare. And after loudly chanting my names to my mothers, the cows, ask them. And then one time he said that those cows, they heard the sound of my flute and they just ran away to me from all direction. Even though they had their little calves with them, they just abandoned their calves and ran to me. And then bow again and again to the feet of the elder gopis whose breast milk I drank for 1 year. Tell them that I am their son forever. Tightly embrace Sridham and my dear friends who would run after me when I went ahead to the flower-filled forest. They would call out, I am first. No, I am first. Then they would catch me and touch me. O ocean of virtues, in my name bow before King Nanda's lotus feet. After I killed cruel Kamsa, so he's telling how I told him, go back, you can't stay. I have to stay because Vasudeva and Devaki, they just saw me for a couple of hours, I guess, or maybe not even, and then they never got to be with me. And so I have to spend some time with them now that I've killed Kamsa. So you have to go back because Mother Yashoda will be just devastated if you don't come back. So you have to go, but don't worry, I'm coming back soon. So he said, bow before King Nanda's lotus feet. And I told him with 100 promises I would be back. Tell him I am always his servant. Then throw your limbs to the ground before my mother Yashoda. She has me as her only child. Her heart is filled with anxiety, her limbs emaciated, her face drawn from suffering. With her fingers, she makes graceful waves in the air and loudly curses the demon king Kamsa. I always beg for her blessings. Then with folded hands and a peaceful heart, carefully approach the gopis, whose limbs display the signs of great suffering. Give them a message from this great offender. Be timid before them, for intelligent messengers share the burden of their master's offenses. So then Krishna, he just stopped speaking and remembered the gopis, and he said, they're always absorbed in thoughts of me. And then he rubbed Uddhava's hands, because remember all this while he's holding Uddhava's hands and relaying this message to him. Perhaps he had already written his letters. And he said, stay in Vraj for some time and please my lotus-eyed gopis. Your visit will fulfill my desire and greatly benefit you. You are my best friend. I want you to see the bliss and love of the gopis. Now, Uddhava right away was eager to carry out this order of the Lord. And we've been hearing how Vrindavan, when Krishna left due to separation, it fell into a miserable state of affairs, and everything became so much unkempt and dusty. The trees dropped all their leaves and flowers, and even the cows and all the Vrajvasis, everything lost all vitality. The river stopped flowing, dried up. So how is it that when Uddhava went, he didn't see any of this? Because Yoga Maya, just the path, just like, when ex-President Trump went to visit India, they put up a wall, like when he arrived, when we arrive, you see all the homeless people. They built a wall so he wouldn't see that. Like they want to, cover what it usually looks like and make it look really nice. So Yogamaya did that. Yogamaya, like just the path that he traveled, that part of Vrindavan, that was beautiful. Bulls majestically strode here and there, and cows with full udders moistened the pastures with milk as they chased their calves. The sounds of milking and flute playing reverberated throughout the valleys, and the singing of Krishna's pastimes filled the opulent homes of the cowherds. On all sides lay flowering forest, which abounded with flocks of birds and swarms of bees. Those forests were beautified by lakes teeming with swans, waterfowl, and clusters of lotus flowers. So, and he saw in the Yamuna, everything looked like when Krishna was there. The Yamuna was flowing with beautiful lotus flowers, and although it was kind of muddied, and usually it's muddied because of all the kajal from the gopis when they're in the water. There's so much, but now it's twice as muddy because of their incessant tears muddied that river, Yamuna. So finally he arrives there, and Nanda and Yashoda, so remember, like they weren't even cooking or anything, but yet for this occasion, somehow they were able to sumptuously feed Uddhava and welcome him. And so they started, speaking. First of all, this is one thing always we see in the etiquette of the Vedas. They don't start right away. I mean, here's Uddhava, a messenger from Krishna, who looks just like Krishna and is a representative, and they treated him as if he were their son Krishna. And so, so first they take care of him, offer him sweet words, and then a sumptuous meal. Then they start inquiring. So they want to know, how is it? How is our Lord doing? Our sons here, Krishna and Balaram, are mentioned, and here we have beautiful names of them as well. Whoops, let's see. It's, 31. Right, so Mukunda and Balaram, like he was asking, as we were hearing, Nanda wants to know, like, how are our sons? And so now for 14 verses, Uddhava is going to describe the glories of Krishna and Balaram. Now Nanda and Yashoda, they're not in this mood, like to hear all of this extremely opulent glories of the Lord. Although, like in the verse, it's talking about the vilakshana, confused or bewildered, and Hridayananda Maharaj is saying, it's about the bodily conception of life or not. Although I tend to think it's also like Nanda is confused hearing all these glories of his son, although he says that, well, when they were born, Garga Muni said in the chapter overview, it said that he came directly from the spiritual world. Although here he says that I consider they might be great demigods. So either way, he's remembering the thing about Nanda and Vasudeva. They go in and out of realization as many devotees, even what to speak of Lord Chaitanya's associates who were gopis in their ontological original forms. They go in and out. They're Goswami and they're renounced and they're teaching and writing the scriptures, but in their internal meditation, they are in the spiritual world. They are serving Radha and they are serving Krishna. If they are a Manjari or if they are a Saki, they are engaged in that service internally. And then coming externally to let us know about it and to write the scriptures and to study the scriptures for the benefit of us. So in the same way, Nanda and Yashoda, so this glorification, like it invokes, we can see even in eternal associates of the Lord, intimate associates like his mother and father, if by them hearing the glories of the Lord, it invokes like the majesty, the divinity, the supremacy of the Lord, what to speak of us. That's how we get to remember the supremacy, how much we can take advantage. Who is this Krishna? And only if we're hearing about him, then we can remember, and not only just hearing his playful Vrindavan pastimes, but hearing his majesty, as is here. He's telling Uddhava, there are the seed and the womb of the universe, the creator and his creative potency. They enter the hearts of living beings and control their conditioned awareness. They are the primeval supreme. Now, there's so many verses glorifying the Lord in this way. And just a little bit, like Lord Brahma, he is offering prayers to Kiradakshai Vishnu. And this is in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he says, again, remember, they're the seed and the womb. So everything generates from them. And one of his prayers is, the entire cosmic manifestation has emerged from water. And it is because of water that all living entities endure, live, and develop, right? We're very much dependent on water. This water is nothing but the semen of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, may the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has such great potency, be pleased with us. And on this earth, there are 4 kinds of living entities who are all created by him. The material creation rests on his lotus feet. He is the great Supreme Person, full of opulence and power. May he be pleased with us. And Soma, the moon, is the source of food grains, strength, and longevity for all the demigods. He is also the master of all vegetation and the source of generation for all living entities. As stated by learned scholars, the moon, right, which is the source of all this nutrition, you could say, it's the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so, just a little sample of the how much there is glorification of the Lord all throughout so that we always remember who he is. Now, the thing is, do you know, why is he doing this? Why is he talking like this, such high philosophy? We don't generally hear this in Vrindavan Leela. Of course, now it's later on, it's Mathura Leela, and then going back to Vrindavan. But why? He wants to actually break their prema, because that prema is causing so much suffering, and so much suffering. But then joyfully, it's mentioned joyfully he spoke to them. So it wouldn't be joyful if he thought it was going to cause them more suffering. He thought, if I break their prema, their total absorption in Krishna as their son, then they may like come out of it and just like kind of relate, I guess, more like this, more on a Gyani level. But it didn't work. It didn't break it. Although Nanda's saying, like I said, I think it means, he's like, I did hear when they were born. Yeah, I did hear this. And then I heard about how they killed Kamsa and they killed the wrestlers. Oh, not heard about it. Nanda was there, but Krishna didn't come back. He saw all this and the elephants and so and all the different demons that he's killing. So I know he's not an ordinary person. Now, also we see Vasudev. Vasudev saw right from the beginning the majesty of Krishna appearing, right? He appearing as Vishnu in the prison home of Kamsa with 4 arms and all of his royal regalia and dress and everything. He saw that, but Krishna likes him to forget too. Krishna sometimes puts Yogamaya on him so that he'll remember Krishna's my son. So we know the case of at the solar eclipse when everyone went to Kurukshetra, Krishna got to be with Vasudeva and Devaki. Rather, also they got to be with him, and so what happened was at the end of that, like they were so joyful to again be reunited, and also when the whole occurrence was over, the whole festivities of the eclipse and all the rituals and the mantras and the sacrifice, there were great sages there. These sages are like, we're the most learned people in the whole universe. We have studied the Vedas, but yet we are bewildered. We cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what to speak of us? Now, after everything was over, Vasudeva, we see he's very fond, Krishna's father, very fond of hearing transcendental knowledge, as we saw in the 7th canto after the Rajasuya sacrifice. Oh no, that's in the 10th canto, sorry. In the 7th canto, he asked Narada Muni to instruct him, and Narada instructs him all about ideal family life and things like this. And now, as the sages, like everyone's getting ready to leave, but he asks them, can you please speak to me and us, anyone who's around? We would love to hear transcendental knowledge from you. So they go on and glorify Krishna again. And then Vasudeva's like, now I'm convinced. Like, if for a moment I just thought Krishna's just my son, he's like, after he heard all these instructions, then his heart was free, but he just like so much realized that now I'm convinced Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he offered beautiful prayers to Krishna, lots of prayers. And then let's see, after that, here's Vasudeva said, again, in alignment with today's verse about Krishna being the source, his first prayer, he offered many prayers, and he said, "O Krishna, Krishna, best of yogis, O eternal Sankarshan," that's Balaram, "I know that you two are personally the source of universal creation and the ingredients of creation as well. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who manifests as the Lord of both nature and the creator of nature, Mahavishnu. Everything that comes into existence, however, and whenever it does so, is created within you, by you, from you, for you, and in relation to you." So again, he's realizing that, this divinity of the Lord and all. Now, so after, so we know that Uddhava stayed for some time, a couple of months, right? And he's telling them, like, don't worry, Krishna's going to come. He is really going to come. I promise, because Krishna did say that he would come, and why he's not coming? It's been such a long time now. They thought he was coming in just a couple of days, but he didn't come. And so Krishna had told him, we're going to be hearing the next chapter is about Krishna delivering the message to the gopis. That's our next chapter, the Song of the Bee in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But what happened was when Uddhava went there, though, he did that, paid obeisances, and when he spoke with Nanda, they stayed up the entire night. They didn't even go to sleep all night, just talking about Krishna. Then in the morning, the gopis rose early and, after bathing, engaged in their household duties, churning butter. And then, when Uddhava came, nobody could see him because it was dusk. And when it was dusk, all the cows were coming home and there was dust raised. So his chariot was obscured. Nobody could even see. But then in the morning, they saw this beautiful chariot in front of Nanda Maharaj's house. And so they thought, uh-oh, I bet that cruel Akrura has come back. That must be Akrura's chariot. And so then they went closer. They went to Nanda's house. And yet they saw Uddhava come out. And Uddhava looks so much like Krishna. Uddhava is the cousin of Krishna. His father, named Deva Bhag, is the brother of Nanda Maharaj. So, what? Oh, sorry. Vasudev's brother. Really, it says, let's see, where did I read that? So what happens is that, let's see. All right, what was I saying about, they see that Uddhava's there, and Uddhava wears prasadam of Krishna. He wears Krishna's remnants, his clothing and his jewelry. And then they're like, he looks so much like Krishna. Who is this, and where did he come from? And then they instead of cursing Akrura, they felt such joy that this is a messenger from Krishna, and so then they were very, very happy. And meanwhile, Krishna, his eagerness grew. Like, how did they receive Uddhava, and how is it going? Just meditating on that, and how would the gopis respond to my letters? And his just kept thinking, restless, with a restless mind like a bumblebee. He was so absorbed in thought of the Braja gopis. And he had told them that among all the Vrijvasis, that the gopis are the best. And among the qualities that make them the best is the sweetness of their words. Among the gopis, Sri Radha is the best. And among the qualities that make her the best is the power of her crooked sidelong glance. So we know Krishna, we just read, he's the source of everything, the supreme controller, yet he is controlled by Srimati Radharani. Just a sidelong glance is enough to break Krishna's resolve. So now he thought, I sent Uddhava. Who else could I send? He's the best choice. Because Uddhava, Krishna, let's see, Krishna had to stay behind, and he so much wanted to embrace them and hear their simple speech. He wanted to be loved by them, although Krishna is Atmarama, he's totally self-satisfied. Still, he is yearning for that love of the Brajvasis, and sometimes he would stay awake all night, tossing and turning, and he just sometimes, when he did sleep, he would dream of Vrindavan, and we know he couldn't leave. He had to go to Vrindavan, but he couldn't go to Vrindavan, and so So anyway, when I guess we'll save for next when we finish this chapter. We'll wait to hear about the message that Uddhava delivers to the gopis. So in the meantime, do we have any additions, comments? Would you like to? Or no, I don't. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't have it here. Sure. I did look over just one. Who's that one by? Okay. Oh, I'll try to summarize here. All right, so that's from this particular verse, huh? All right, so this particular verse, wow, you have all these commentaries in one place. Wow, how'd you do that? Anyway, amazing, huh? So many commentaries. Um, and so I'll just try to pick out um, a few things here. So in this verse, Uddhava explains how Krishna is the Narayan, the guru of everyone, as the Lord and his expansions are non-different. Krishna and Balaram, a tau. In this verse we had 3 or 4 words ending in a tau, that they are appearing as 2 entities, but they're actually one. And this is confirmed by Akrura, when he said that Krishna, though one form, appears as many. So these 2 persons are the seed and womb of the universe, the nimitta, indirect cause, and upadana, material cause. They are Purusha and Pradana. This is their Shaktiman, oh, there's no diacritics, and Shakti, which are non-different. So very technical here. Jiva Goswami again, in his commentary, Balaram and Krishna alone are the cause of the universe. Excuse me. They enter all beings. The word cha should be placed after Mukunda. They control the jiva swarup, consisting of pure consciousness alone. The word cha means of the jivas. The sandhi is poetic license. All right, this is to emphasize their unique position. Or Uddhava described that Krishna was the shelter of Vishnu and the greater than the Lord of Vaikuntha. This is reiterated in this verse. Mukunda is one with Balaram, since the Amshi and the Amsha are non-different. Prakriti is the material cause. The Purusha is the foundational cause. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. All right, then Sanatana Goswami says, Balaram and Krishna alone are the cause of the universe. They enter all beings. The word cha should be placed after Mukunda. Oh, that's also similar to the previous commentary. And what'd you say? Oh, yeah, often. Yes. So, let's see. All right, so that's the next verse. Okay, so are there any comments or questions on today's... yeah, it's my favorite book in the whole world, that one. Out of all of them, he has 8, now there's 9 volumes of the Vrindavan series. Krishna Sangati, Krishna leaving Vrindavan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, okay, so maybe I can just read a little more if there's no questions or comments or appreciations. What'd you say? What'd you say? Oh, so amazing. Yes, very amazing. Let's see, I'm getting mixed up here, part 3. All right, let me just go back here. I have one. Okay. Well, Uddhava did go back, and Krishna was like, tell me, couldn't wait to hear the response of everybody in Vrindavan. And because as soon as Uddhava left, all of that went back to that devastated environment, and everyone again became forlorn and just lacked all luster and everything. So that was Yogamaya creating it, and then again allowing it to disappear. And let me see. So we have one. And we know that Ratha Yatra is symbolizing Krishna finally going back to Vrindavan, like that. So, no, is there anything anyone particularly appreciated about today's reading? Thank you. Well, sorry I ran out. I didn't think, but yeah. Right, thank you. Thank you for this. I wish I can have that. I just don't know how to find it. What's it called?
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Vipan Vikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
22. Goranga bulite habe puraka sharir. Hari Hari bolite nayane pavenir. Pavenir. Haraka benutai chander karuna hoibe. Haraka benutai chander karuna hoibe. Samsara vasana mora abe tuja hoibe. Samsara vasana mora abe tuja hoibe. Vishaya chariya kabe shurahave man. Vishaya chariya have shurahave man. Kabe hamahera bosri Vrindavana. Kabe amahera se Vrindavana. Rupa Raghunatha Pabe Hoibe Akuti Raghunatha Hare Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Puja Bose Yugala Birti Kabe Hama Puja Bose Yugala Birti Rupa Raghunatha Pare Rahu Moras. Rupa Raghunatha Pare Rahu Moras. Prarthana koro ye sada Narottamadas. Goranga bolite kabe pulaka sharir. Goranga bolite kabe pulaka sharir. Hari Hari bolite nayane pavenir. Hari Hari bolite nayane pavenir. Jaya Radha Goloka Nanda Radha Goloka Nanda Radhe. Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan 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 Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. When will that opportune moment come to me when I shiver upon chanting the name of Lord? Go Ranga! When will I cry while chanting Hare Krishna? When will I receive the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda so that my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When will my mind be purified of material anxieties and desires so that I can understand Vrindavan? When shall I be very eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis so that I can understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna? The lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis are my only shelter. In constant separation from them, I remain Narottama Das. Narottama Das Thakur ki jai. Devagni Nirvapana
Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam. Page 12. Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Hamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Janina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishameva Bambuda Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Kalada Shudaraya Vadanam Vadgadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tava Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadam Ranam Ranastumam Adarshanam Marmahatakarotuva Yatatatava Vidadatulam Pato Matprananatastusa Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering the moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Sri Shastra Ki Jai. And another reminder is that tomorrow is the last Friday celebration in Hillsborough. It's always the last Friday of each month. And there'll be a lot of people downtown. We'll be at the corner of Margaret and Churton Street from 6 to 8 p.m. for Harinam. So please try to make it. It's a lot of people there. It's the most people who come to Hillsborough at any given time. Lots of booths and all. It's like a little fair. So it's a nice place to do Harinam. Haribo.